We've already showed you several different garments with draping. Skirts, sleeves, blouses. I think that it's time to make a dress. One of the side seams will be draped, and it will turn into flounce. The other side seam will be pretty regular. I'll be making a dress for Olya. What I also want to tell you is that I not only came up with the design, but I also created a pattern for it. I'm going to show you the most simple way of making such dresses. I created a very interesting technique for draping the side seam. I'll show you how to do it. There will be a cord inserted in it. I'm going to show you how to make a pattern first. When it's ready, we'll continue working. The thing is that we don't need to make patterns for the front and for the back. The two details will be absolutely even. I'll also show you how to make very beautiful necklines. The bottom of the dress should be cut on the crosswise grain. The lower part of the skirt should also be cut on a grain. The draped part will be cut differently. This is the part which should be cut on a grain. Next, you need to take the 6 measurements of Olya's body: bust, waist, hips, the length of the back, the width of the back, and the length of the item. I don't need to know any other measurements. There won't be any tucks or darts in this dress. The dress will be close-fitting anyway. Knitted fabrics are perfect for such dresses. I'm going to make the bust and the hips a bit tighter than needed because of the draping. I want to show you how to sew such dresses and how to make patterns for such dresses very thoroughly. You can make tops or tunic dresses using the same technique. We are going to make a knee-level dress for Olya. If I was making such dress for myself, I would make it a bit longer. I'm going to take Olya's measurements next. After that, I'll start drawing the pattern. I'm going to show you how to make kind of a basic pattern first, and then a pattern for this dress on its basis. When I start drawing the pattern, I'll show you what to pay attention to. You should be very attentive. Before we start working, I want you to have a look at the way this color suits Olya. I'm not sure how to call this color. It's not beige and it's not pink either. I just know for sure that it's very beautiful. This knitted fabric is of a very high quality. The color looks so beautiful on Olya. What do you think? I'm not sure yet how much fabric we're going to use for this dress. First, I need to measure the bust. (95 centimeters). The waist. The dress will be close-fitting. 77 centimeters. 1/2 of the measurement is 38.5 centimeters. The hips. (98 centimeters). 1/2 of the measurement is 49 centimeters. The width of the back is 38 centimeters. 1/2 of the measurement is 19. The length of the back from the neck base to the waist, 41 centimeters. The length of the dress, 94 centimeters. We can let Olya go now. When the dress is tacked, she'll try it on. I need to write down the length of the dress, 94 centimeters. I remind you that we don't need to make different patterns for the front and for the back. The details will be absolutely even. I'm not even sure how to call the detail we are going to make. It will be the front and the back at the same time. It will just slightly resemble a regular pattern. This piece of tracing paper is folded in half. When I finish drawing the pattern, I'll unfold it. I'm going to draw just 1/4 of the pattern. First, I need to draw the point 0. It marks the 7th neck bone level. Next, I need to measure and mark the length of the back down from this point, 41 centimeters. I'll be making a dress of knitted fabric, so 40 centimeters would be enough. This is the waistline. Next, I need to measure and mark the length of the item, 92 centimeters for knitted fabric. This is the bottom. This is the waistline. Draw a short horizontal line from the point 0. Measure and mark 9 centimeters on it. I don't want to make too wide neckline in a garment of knitted fabric. This point marks the 7th neck bone level. Next, I need to measure and mark 3 centimeters up from this point. If we were drawing the back neckline, it would look this way. We don't need to do it. This detail is 8 centimeters wide and 3 centimeters high. Next, we need to divide the length of the back in half, 20 centimeters. We need to draw this line to know where to draw an armhole. Next, we need to measure and mark half of the width of the back here, 19 centimeters. I remind you that the width of the back is 38 centimeters. This point marks the beginning of the shoulder. Imagine there is a horizontal line here. And then mark the point 2 centimeters lower. Draw the shoulder seam through this point. Point 0, point 8, point 3. Draw a horizontal line here, and then move it 2 centimeters lower to draw a shoulder seam. I'll sign it.
2 сантиметра – это плечо. Плечо. Вот у нас плечо.
Next, I need to draw the hip line. I'll draw it 18 centimeters down from the waistline. Olya's hips are actually 23 centimeters down from the waist. I remind you that I can slightly change the measurements due to the fact that I'm making a dress of knitted fabric. I'll sign the lines. This one is for drawing armhole, waistline, hip line. This is the bottom.
Бедра. 49 пополам.
1/2 of the hip measurement is 24.5 centimeters. I think that 23.5 centimeters would be enough.
Линия низа.
I also want to make the bottom 2 centimeters tighter. I know for sure that knitted fabric stretch, so I make the measurements a bit smaller. The bust, – 23.5 centimeters, so I'll measure and mark 22.5 centimeters. One half of the waist measurement is 19.5 centimeters. So I'll mark 19 centimeters. Don't ever draw such side seams in garments. I can do it now due to the fact that I'm making a dress of knitted fabric. When we drape the side seam, it will look absolutely different. Next, I need to raise the armhole line for 2 centimeters.
Еще вверх поднять сантиметра на 2.
After that, I need to draw the armhole. I remind you that we divided the back length in half and then raise this point for 2 centimeters.
Мерку длины спины разделить пополам, провести линию проймы.
I'll draw the armhole by side. I want to make the shoulder seam a bit more bias. Have a look at the side seam once again. Don't ever make such side seams in garments. When making regular garments, you need to make the side seam less round and draw base tucks. These side seam look this way due to the fact that the center back in this dress is straight. Have a look here. This is the beginning of the shoulder. This line should be straight. Here it is. These are the points 0, 8, and 3. This is the beginning of the shoulder. I'll sign it. This line should be straight, and it should be perpendicular to the center back seam. The base for making the pattern is ready. I can cut it now. Next, I need to sign the right and the wrong sides in this pattern. I'll show you what to do next.
Все, что будем делать дальше, вы увидите сейчас.
This is the pattern both for the front and for the back. Have a look here. The right half of the dress will be draped. This is the face of the pattern. In this case, these are the right and the left sides. This is the face of the front pattern. The right and the left sides. Here are the pattern and the sketch. The draping will start to beat under the armhole and end almost on the hip level. You should decide on this distance yourself. You can make the drape detail longer or shorter. In my case, the draping will start to beat below the armhole and end a bit above the hips. Next, I need to make openings for the draping. The first opening should be cut this way. Don't draw or measure the lines for cutting. Do it by side. Don't cut to the end. Stop cutting a couple of millimeters before the edge. The lower cut should be made this way, kind of directed towards the bottom.
И не дорезать.
As I've already said, stop cutting a couple of centimeters before the other edge.
Потом ничего не поймете.
Have a look here. I remind you that the lower part of the dress, the one without draping, should be cut on the crosswise grain. The drape detail will be cut differently. You can make the openings as wide as you want. It will affect the way the draping looks like. Notice that the side seams already look absolutely different. I hope that you like the design. I remind you that the draped side seam will be gathered with the cord. I'm showing you the most simple way for making such dresses. I came up with this technique myself. It would take a lot of time to make such dress any other way. I remind you that this is the center front and the center back at the same time. These 2 points mark the beginning of the shoulders. Have a close look at them. They are placed on each side of the seam. The distance between the seam and each of the points is 8 centimeters. Next, I need to make a cut here and open it a bit in order to make a beautiful neckline. Where I pin the details, I'll measure the distance between the 2 points. I remind you that they mark the beginning of the shoulders. I need to measure the distance between the 2 points. I remind you that these 2 points mark the beginning of the shoulders. The distance between them is 24 centimeters wide. It's not enough. I need to make it bigger. I remind you that this edge was straight. I'm making an opening in it in order to make a beautiful cowl neck. I want to make 2 more openings in these details. I moved the points which mark the beginning of the shoulders even further by making 2 more openings. The neckline will look very beautiful. This is going to be kind of a cowl neck. What should we do next? The first thing I need to do is to outline the pattern. When I do it, I'll throw the pattern away.
Я вот это все сниму и выкину. Вы увидите, что получилось.
This is the beginning of the shoulder. This is also the beginning of the shoulder. When I detach the pattern, I'll throw it away. I don't need it anymore. Don't be afraid of making garments with draping. It's not that hard. Don't think that it would take you a lot of time to make such dresses. It's not true. Notice that some of these details look longer than the other. Draw the side seam according to the shorter details. Now I can take the pins out in order to detach the pattern. I hope that everything is clear so far. I've already showed you much more complicated patterns and designs. When I detach the pattern, I'll outline the drawn pattern once again, making the lines more beautiful. The dress will be absolutely amazing. Do you remember the black dress we made for Olya? The one with the draping on one shoulder? Watch the video about it if you haven't done it yet. Olya is pretty lucky. I sew so many different garments for her. This is how the neckline looks like now. It will be very beautiful. This is the side seam. I remind you that this is the right side of the front. The shoulder seam, the neckline, I want to change this armhole a bit. Have a look at the side seam. I also want to change it a bit. I want it to be a bit more round. The pattern is almost ready. I need to make a pattern for the flounce sleeve. To do that, I need to make the shoulder seam 28 centimeters longer. I think that 28 centimeters would be enough. I'll even add 2 more centimeters. Next, I need to draw a flounce up from the bottom. This one is too big, I'll change it. You can draw this detail however you want. It just should be round. You know that I'm much better at cutting than at drawing. The draping will start here and end here. This is how wide the draped detail will be. Both the side seam and the flounce will be draped. I want to raise this line a bit. You can draw the flounce however you want. These are the shoulder seams. This is the part which will be gathered for draping the side seam and the flounce. The only thing left to be done is for the pattern to be cut. How silly I am. Why was it trimmed to make this line more beautiful? There will be no regular armhole here. The side seam will be stitched down from this point. The sleeve will turn into the flounce. The pattern is ready. I need to cut it and lay it on the fabric. When I do it, I'll measure how much fabric I'm going to need for this dress. The best thing to do is to fold the fabric in half and cut the two even details at once. I remind you that the dress will be made of the two even details. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to waste too much fabric. I created both the design and the pattern myself. Sometimes I get very interesting ideas at night. I want the dress to look good on the body. It will be absolutely amazing. I showed you how to make a pattern for this dress. Here it is. It's 1.3 meters long. I had to buy 2.6 meters of fabric. Notice that you need to buy not 2 lengths of the item, but 2 lengths of the pattern. You can think of the ways to use less fabric. I'm not going to do it. I folded the fabric in half in such way that the wrong sides match. I had to do it this way because I'm going to tack the flounce face up. When I do it, I'll show you how to tack the second side seam. We can start working. If you decide to make such dresses, you need to be sure that you're ready to waste some fabric. Of course, it's much easier to sew simple straight dresses without draping, flounces, or some other details. I'll lay the pattern on the piece of fabric. These are the shoulder seams. I remind you that there will be kind of a cowl neck in this dress, both on the front and on the back. I'm thinking about making the sleeves even tighter for them to look better. I'll show you how to do it later. First, I need to cut 2 even details, the front and the back. Notice that I changed the side seam, making the dress a bit tighter. Here it is. When Olya tries the tack dress on, we'll see if we need to make it even more tight. I believe that it will be okay. I'm going to show you how to prepare the dress for fitting. I'm so happy that I came up with the idea of showing you how to make such dresses. Olya can't wait to try the dress on. I remind you that the lower part of the skirt should be cut on a crosswise grain. I need to pin the pattern to the fabric. The side seam should be pinned very thoroughly. When I do it, I'll turn the piece of fabric and draw the side seam on the other side according to the pins. I'll show you how to do it.
Сейчас вы все увидите. Что за булавка?
I remind you that these 2 points mark the length of the draping. This is where the side seam begins. You can drape the seam from the very beginning if you want. Next, I need to pin the side seam very thoroughly. When I do it, I'll draw it on the other side according to the pins.
И вот этот боковой шов по нашим вот этим вот булавочкам нанесу.
When I draw the side seam, I'll start cutting the dress. I remind you that the dress will consist of the 2 even details. The best thing about this dress is that it's made of knitted fabric. Due to this fact, we don't need to add anything for the balance. You can cut the front and the back details separately if you want. I don't think that it's necessary. You would just waste a lot of time doing it. I remind you that I'm pinning the side seam. When the dress is ready, we'll show you its full review. There is nothing complicated in this dress. That's it, the pattern is pinned. I can start cutting now. I need to find another pair of scissors. Do not forget to make tiny notches in the points where the shoulder seams should start. The notches should be very small. I don't add much for the seams because I'm making the dress of knitted fabric.
На глаз все еще понемножку уменьшила.
Have a look here. I'll make the flounce a bit wider here. I want it to be beautiful. I have enough fabric for doing it. You know that I'm much better at cutting than at drawing. You can cut the flounce however you want. No one can tell you what to sew and what to wear.
Что хотим, то и делаем.
It's not convenient for me to work this way. I'll basically have to lay on the table to continue cutting. Be very accurate when cutting garments.
Очень я стараюсь.
I want the clothes I sew to be beautiful. As I've already said, I'm much better at cutting than at drawing. I cut the dress. It took me about 1 hour to make a pattern and prepare fabric for cutting. It took me just about 15 minutes to cut the dress. I can continue working. The first thing I need to do is to tack the side seam. Have a close look at the pattern once again. The design is not that complicated. This is how the side seam looks like on the other side. I remind you that I pinned it. Just imagine how beautiful Olya will look like wearing this dress. Very nice. I need to detach the pattern next. To do that, first I need to insert several pins along the side seam.
Немножко вот так вот поскалывать вдоль нашего будущего шва. Чуть-чуть.
I'm doing it now in order not to waste time trying to make the side seam match later. It's much more convenient to work this way. When I finish pinning the seam, I'll detach the pattern. After that, I'll start taking the dress. I'm not going to throw this pattern away. If Olya likes the dress, and I'm sure that she will be able to make it in different color. That's it. I pinned the front and the back details together along the side seam. I need to detach the pattern next.
Удаляю ее уже отсюда, она нам больше не нужна.
Why does it take some people pretty long to sew something? There are several reasons for that. Firstly, they might not know the needed techniques. Secondly, their attitude might be wrong. If you look at a garment and think, oh, I have to sew it, I recommend you not sewing at all. I can start taking the dress now. First, I need to take the side seam. I'm not going to gather the seam now. I'll just take it. These 2 points mark which part of the side seam will be draped. It's not hard to take this side seam. It's already drawn. I prepared this spool of threads for gathering the seam. This thread is pretty strong. We'll remove the tagging after the fitting. I remind you that the front and the back are pinned to each other wrong side to wrong side. I'll show you what to do next. I sometimes come up with the very useful ideas at night. I love this design. I can't wait for Olya to try the dress on. The design is actually not for me. I prefer to wear more comfortable clothes. I move a lot, so I don't like close-fitting clothes. Anyway, I do wear such dresses sometimes. I'm showing you everything very thoroughly. Have a look here. This is the side seam which divides the bodies from the flounce. The side seam is tacked. I remind you that the fabric is laid on the table face up. The second side seam should be tacked face to face. That means that the flounce should be kind of hidden inside the dress. Have a look at what I'm doing. I need to pin the side seam for taking. The shoulder seams will be tacked the same way. When I turn the dress right side out, there will be just one seam there. The garment is starting to look a lot like a dress.
Сейчас сметаю второй шов.
Such dress would look good on anybody. You can make it longer or shorter. Anyway, this dress is close-fitting, so not everyone would agree to wear it. The knitted fabric I'm making the dress of is perfect for draping. The shoulder seams will be pretty tight. I'm taking the first shoulder seam, the one without the flounce. I need to tack the seam from the notch to the end. Have a look at the sketch. Notice that the shoulder seam turns into a flounce on the other side. I can start taking the second shoulder now. I can start taking the second shoulder seam now. It should be tacked from the notch to the end of the flounce. This is the only seam which is tacked from the right side. Here it is. All the other seams should be tacked from the wrong side. By the other, I mean the second side seam and the two shoulder seams. the dress will be very beautiful. All the details match.
Детали одинаковые.
I love garments which consist of even details. The shoulder seams are ready. I can turn the dress right side out. This is how it looks like from the wrong side.
Но я его выворачиваю. Теперь вот мой боковой.
Here are the two side seams.
А вот второй.
Next, I need to use a strong thread to gather the seam for the fitting.
С плотной ниткой, которая у меня точно не порвется сейчас.
I'm making tiny stitches. I'm draping the side seam for the first fitting. When the dress is stitched, it will be done differently.
Будут собирать совсем другой технологией.
I'm making tiny stitches for the draping to look beautiful. Don't be afraid of making garments with draping. It's not as hard as it seems. The draping already looks very beautiful. I can't wait to see the finished dress. It's impossible to make even gathers by hands. Of course, they will be made even when the dress is stitched. How to decide how much to drape the side seam? Have a look at the other side seam. They should be even. The side seam is 77 centimeters long. Right. This one is also about 77 centimeters long now. I need to fix the thread for the draping to look good at a fitting.
Несколько таких делаю закрепок из ниточки, чтобы нам хотя бы помериться.
I remind you that I used a strong thread for gathering the side seam. I need to make the draping more even by hands.
У нас вот такая есть тут равномерность в сборке.
This is how the dress looks like now. Have a look at the sketch once again. You can drape the side seam more or less. Use your imagination. Drape as much as you add for it. Next, Olya will try the dress on.
Сделаем первую примерку для Олечки.
Have a look at Olya. This is the first fitting of the dress. I'm glad that I made the dress a bit tight on the waist. The draping looks very beautiful. Anyway, I think that the dress should be made a bit wider on the hips. I'll do it after the fitting. I'll make the hips wider just for about 1 or 2 centimeters. Have a look at the way the dress looks like from the back. Next, I will show you a review of the finished dress. Have a close look at Olya.
Смотрите.
I came up with an idea of making this dress myself. Next, I will show you a review of the finished dress. We'll make some changes. Olya will put different shoes on. This is a very beautiful evening dress. The fabric is of a very high quality. Have a look at the neckline. It's very beautiful. I remind you that this is kind of a cowl neck. This is how it looks like from the back. I showed you how to make a pattern for this dress very thoroughly. I also showed you how to cut and take it. You saw that the technique is pretty simple. As I've already said, the draping will be made differently when the dress is stitched. The dress looks good anyway. I showed you how to make a pattern for this dress, how to cut and take it. Have a close look at the dress. Olya, turn around, please.
Покрутимся, и я начну рассказывать.
The dress is very beautiful. First, I wanted to have a look at the dress when Olya is wearing it, and then she'll take the dress off for me to show you the wrong side of it. I want to show you all the details very thoroughly. I came up not only with the design, but also with some of techniques for making this dress. Have a close look at the flounce. There is a cord here. You don't need to insert an elastic or any ribbons. A cord inserted in the seam would be enough. Let's have a look at the neckline. This is how it looks like from the front and from the back. You can make a simple straight neckline on the back if you want. I like it the way it is. I personally think that the best thing about this dress is that it's made of the two even details. I don't recommend using too complicated techniques when sewing such dresses. Even if the shoulder stretches a bit, the dress will still look very beautiful. The dress is absolutely amazing. Olya looks very beautiful wearing it. Once you put such dress on, it will fit you perfectly. Have a close look at the flounce. It was draped together with the side seam. What is also interesting about this dress is that the design will suit people of different sizes, like Olya, smaller, bigger. If you want a cocktail dress, you can make such one. If I make such dress for myself, it will fit me perfect as well. Asymmetry will help you hide those parts of your bodies which you want to hide. I hope that you like the design. I was sure about it from the moment I decided to sew this dress. Have a look here. This is where the seam is. The side seam was gathered with the use of the two cords. I remind you that the side seam was drawn according to Olya's measurements. Due to this fact, it looks very beautiful. I love the dress. I'm sure that Olya can't wait to go out in it. Have a close look at the draping. You can drape the side seam more if you want. You can sew and wear whatever you want.
Я всегда говорю, своя рука владыка.
I think that the color suits Olya. She looks stunning. Have a close look at the dress while Olya is still wearing it. When she takes it off, I'll put it on the table to show you the wrong side. I wanted to see how it was made. Very beautiful. You saw the dress on Olya. Next, I'll put it on the table to tell you how it was made. Olya, you can go now. I put the dress on the table. Have a close look at the draping. I want to measure it. 35 centimeters. I need to do it because I'm going to take the cord out. Have a close look at all the details. The armhole and the bottom were edged with the cover stitch machine. The flounce and the neckline were edged with the rolled hem. The side seams were stitched with a 4-thread sewing machine. Have a look at the way we edged the lower part of the flounce. It looks very beautiful. Have a close look at the draping once again. Next, I'll untie the cords. This is where the knot is. Notice that the cords were made of the same fabric. One cord was stitched to the upper part of the seam, and the second one to the lower. Have a close look at the seam. We stitched the seam first, then attached the cords and stitched the second seam. There is a small gap in between the two seams. It was made for us to tie the cords here. I came up with this technique myself. It's usually pretty hard to stitch draping. Due to the fact that we inserted the two cords in the flounce, we don't need to stitch the draping. Such simple sewing technique can help you sew a haute couture dress. Now you know how to make such amazing dresses. I showed you how to make a pattern very thoroughly. Sometimes you look at a garment and think that it's too hard for you to sew it. But then it turns out that it's not. I showed you a new technique for making draping. The technique is pretty simple, and the draping made this way looks very beautiful. Olya loves the dress. I'm also happy with the result. I love it when I'm able to show you how to make a pattern for a garment, its making, and then a review of it. I think that such tutorials are pretty useful. I've already showed you this dress. We made it for Kate. Watch the videos about this dress if you haven't done it yet. We show you a lot of different designs and techniques. I really hope that you find my tutorials useful. We work really hard to help you be different and beautiful. The best thing about this technique is that you can untie the cords, iron the dress conveniently, and then drape the side seam once again. It's pretty hard to iron the garments in which the draping is stitched. I want you to learn to use your imagination. You can make a tunic dress or a blouse using the same technique. In this case, you can make a tie at the bottom. You can make a very beautiful skirt suit of knitted fabric. And the blouse for a skirt suit can be made using this technique as well. My motto is the same. Be different and beautiful every day. Don't be afraid of experiments, and remember that practice makes perfect. That's all for today. We are Irina and Olya. Subscribe to my channel, write comments, share videos, press the like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.